Previously on this channel, I took a look at both Transformers Legacy toy lines, the original called Transformers Legacy and the sequel called Transformers Legacy Evolution. While both toy lines are great in their own rights, they failed at doing the thing that they set out to do, and that is celebrating the core brand, the Legacy. Well, this is the end of that trilogy, and we have this toy line called Legacy United. Now, if you haven't seen the prior videos, I highly recommend checking them out.
Why should I? What's in it for me?
Your bargaining posture is highly dubious, but very well. By watching the previous two videos, you will have a greater understanding of this video. And nothing. Now, like with the previous lines, we're going to start with the core class and work our way down. But this time, the line is actually a lot larger than the previous two, as this line lasted more than just a year, and it extended into a little bit of 2025. Starting off with core class, we have 3 waves of figures, and surprisingly, none of them are repacks or repaints from prior line. Wave 1 actually has 0 G1 characters in it. That is very shocking. Let's get started with the most interesting to me, Beast Wars 2nd Tasmania Kid. Now, this character is from the Beast Wars 2nd anime. As such, he's very obscure up here in the West, but if he does look familiar to you, that is because his toy was released in the Beast Wars line under the name Snarl first, and then that character got adapted into the Beast Wars 2nd anime under the name Tasmania Kid. As for the figure itself, it is very cool looking as a robot, and seems to pose pretty well. And looking at the Chipmunk mode, it looks fairly decent. So yeah, this is a pretty cool core class figure, and I'm happy to see such an obscure character in the first line. The second figure I want to mention is a character named Boulder Crash. Now, this character is more or less an OC created for this line, but his origin is interesting. You see, this character sort of debuted in the GoBox cartoon, which was Transformers' biggest competitor for a while before being bought by Hasbro themselves. One of their shorts had them fighting these things called the Rock Lords, and as such, this figure is based on the Rock Lords. This character has a cool paint scheme with the red highlights being my favorite part of him, and seems to pose pretty well, and he turns into a motorcycle. The rock texture especially looks really good on him, so yeah, he's a pretty nifty little guy. The final figure is one I've been waiting for since the beginning of the Legacy line as a concept. It is Energon Universe Megatron. The figure looks absolutely perfect to the show model, which is good, because this is a decent design for Megatron, I always felt. As for the figure's articulation, the head rotates a bit left and right, the shoulders are on ball joints, the elbows bend, the biceps swivel. There is no waist swivel, but the legs can move forward and back in and out. There's a thigh swivel, the knee joints bend really well, and there is a bit of an ankle movement for transformation. Figure includes the tank with the sword on the end of it, along with 2 green parts that you can apply in different formations. And the transformation is very simple, but the air gunship looks very cool. So yeah, this figure was definitely worth the wait, and best of all, if you own the Supreme Class Unicron from the Transformers Energon toy line, figure is in perfect scale with it, and that makes her an awesome display piece. Wave 2 only had 1 figure, and that was the Beast Machines Core Class Cheetor. Yeah, they actually made a Beast Machines figure, and he looks very accurate, which is a godsend, because if Beast Machines was known for one thing, it was that its toys were hideously inaccurate to the source material. As for the figure itself, the head rotates, arms are on ball joints, the elbows are on ball joints, the legs are on ball joints, the thighs are swivels, and you got 2 different sets of knees for the cool chicken leg look. The figure comes with 2 swords, which you can combine together to form some sort of boomerang thing, and the cheetah mode also looks pretty good. I'm very happy that they made a Beast Machines figure. Just sucks that he's so small. But thankfully he is kind of somewhat in scale with the Thurling 30 Deluxe Tankor from Beast Machines, so at least that's a positive. Wave 3 is sadly only repaints, as we got to repaint a Boulder Crash into this character named Ryokon, who does actually have a much more interesting color scheme. I especially like the purple highlights in the vehicle mode. And our final core class is Energon Universe Galvatron. Yes, this is just a repaint of the Energon Universe Megatron into Galvatron. This color scheme is very cool and very G1 inspired. In fact, you can even buy an upgrade kit to give him a cannon. And yeah, this was what Hasbro was doing during the 2000s. Whenever they needed Megatron to get a power-up, they would just repaint him and call him Galvatron.
Behold, Galvatron,
And that ends Core Class. Like, not even just for this toy line, like, in general. This was the final wave of Core Class figures that they ever made. There was also supposed to be a Beast Wars Dinobot figure as part of this assortment, but he got cancelled, and we don't even know what he looks like.
Tell my tale to those who ask. Tell it truly. The evil deeds, along with the good. And let me be judged accordingly. The rest is silence.
So yeah, Core Class really impressed me this time, and I'm happy to see that the line ended on a high note. Now let's see how our Deluxes hold up. For Deluxes, we have 5 waves total with 18 figures all in all. So let's start with the wave 1 and work our way through. Just like Core Class, shockingly none of these figures are from G1. So let's get started with the one I think is the most interesting to cover. The one I find the most interesting to cover is Chase, and that is because he's from the Rescue Bots show. And yeah, this looks very accurate to the cartoon show that's made for preschoolers, which is awesome that they were inclusive enough to include it in. As for the figure itself, he does look very nice and seems to pose pretty alright. Comes with a clear blue plastic claw weapon, which is neat, and he seems to transform pretty well, and the police car mode does also look pretty good. So this seems like a pretty solid deluxe figure and a good start to the line. The Rock Lords are also at this scale, and here we have Megonius. Now this figure looks pretty good. He reminds me of a Bayverse protoform with the spiky bits and the predominantly gray paint. Now, the Rock Lords have a gimmick, and like the Junkions from the last year, they can break apart, but this time to form weapons instead of armor, and that's a fun gimmick, like with the breaking apart for the armor. Transformation is probably not that great though, but the vehicle mode looks pretty interesting on this guy. So yeah, this is a fun little gimmick figure. I really like him. The next figure is very interesting as it is Cyberverse Universe Windblade. The figure looks very accurate to how she looks in the Cyberverse cartoon. As for the Windblade herself, she is a very interesting character because she was technically created by the fans. And those fans likely baked her female because they realized there's not too many females in the brand.
Female? I thought they were extinct.
As for the figure itself, she includes a very awesome purple sword, and surprisingly the back of her head can be removed for whatever reason. The figure also poses pretty decently. Unfortunately, the jet mode doesn't look very good. Very chunky in the upper section, and you can see the arms along the side. But beyond that, the robot mode still looks very nice, so I get it just for that. And our final figure of Wave 1 is Animated Universe Bumblebee. Now, this is our second mainline animated figure in the Legacy line. How well did they do? You know what? This actually looks pretty accurate, but there is still some weird inaccuracies, like why are the legs not yellow like the show model?
I tried to gain favor from you, but nothing was ever good enough. No matter how many battles I fought, you always found fault.
Okay, it's not that big of a deal. But compared to the original figure, this figure's height is much closer to what he should be, because he was very small in that show. Figure, due to its smaller size, does come with above average accessories. You do get the stingers, which you can plug into his hands, but if you want to hold them, you also get the thrusters. They can plug into the thrusters, and you can hold them as handheld weapons, or you can also use them as the blast effects for the thrusters. And I do like this figure a lot. Posability is a huge factor. This figure is one of the best posing deluxes in the Legacy line. You can really hit some good poses with him. And transformation's also pretty fun, and the vehicle mode is nice and accurate. Plus you can still use the turbo boosters on it. So yeah, I actually really like Animated Universe Bumblebee. Though I personally settled for the Age of the Primes animated and fugitive Waspinator because I really like that color scheme more. Wave 2 of the Deluxes begins with Cyberverse Universe Chromia, which is just a repaint of the Animated Universe Prowl from the Legacy Evolution line. And yeah, it doesn't look very accurate to Cyberverse Chromia, so I'd say just stick with Prowl if you need to get this mold. Next we got another Rock Lord. This one's name is Shard, and he might be my favorite of the Rock Lords. I really like the green color scheme he has, plus he comes with some very cool weaponry that all plugs into his arms, giving him very cool blades. And speaking of blades, it turns into a helicopter, which is a very cool alternate mode. I got some sad news, guys. The next figure is a G1 figure.
No, not that.
I'm just kidding. I think G1 should still be part of Legacy, but I do like that this line's a bit more balanced. As for the figure itself, it is of Gears, and this figure looks really awesome. He includes a blaster, plus it's advertised that you can remove his chest up for whatever reason. I'm assuming it's something that happens in the series. He poses very well, which is good because he's tiny, and he seems to transform pretty well into a little mini pickup truck. So yeah, this is a pretty neat little figure. Wave 3 of the Deluxes begins with a repack of Strong Arm from the last line, so we'll be skipping her. We will also be skipping Rocklord Nucleus because he's just a repaint of Rocklord Magnius, but in worse colors in my opinion. The next figure is Robots in Disguise 2001 Sideburn, which is a repaint of the Cyberverse Universe Shadow Striker from Legacy Evolution. Now, last time I mentioned that figure looked nothing like that character, but it does look very accurate to Robots in Disguise 2001 Sideburn. As the figure itself, he does have very good posability, and he transforms pretty well. Though don't lose the roof, because then the vehicle mode will look incomplete. The only brand new mold in this wave is Cybertron Universe Hot Shot, and yeah, this figure looks very accurate to how the Cybertron Hot Shot looks. As for a figure itself, I actually own this one, so let me look over his articulation. The head has some very good tiltage, but the shoulders are where things get weird. Can't really move out that much, the elbows don't bend that far, and the wrists are very hard to access due to the doors being in the way. But the waist rotates, the hips are universal, knees bend pretty well, you get an ankle tilt, and yeah, very good articulation in the lower body. Upper body is a bit limited, but you can still get some decent poses out of him. He includes his Cyberplanet key, which doesn't work, but you can still pretend to do the gimmick and have the wings flip out. And the transformation's very fun, if simple, and yeah, the figure looks very good in vehicle mode. But it's hard to say if this is worth upgrading if you have the originals. They look very identical, and the original wasn't too bad imposing either. So let's just pick which one you think you'd like more. Wave 4 of the Deluxes begins with Cyberverse Universe Slipstream, who is a remold of the Cyberverse Universe Windblade we already talked about. As for how accurate she looks, it's not very accurate, as it's very thin in proportion, which ironically makes it look more accurate to the animated Slipstream design, which is what I wish they would have went with, because that would have been cooler, in my opinion. The next figure is G1 Universe Quake, who is surprisingly enough a retool of the Legacy Skullgrin, but it looks very different. And this figure is also a target master, so he has two little robots that turn into weapons, which is an awesome feature that I always love to see. And the tank mode even looks significantly different than Skullgrin as well, so they really put a lot of effort into this new mold. So yeah, I'd say that's a pretty cool effort, and I kind of wish Slipstream got this kind of effort. The last Deluxe of the wave is a G1 Optimus Prime, but this Optimus is special. He is not exactly based on the original 80s cartoon. He is actually based on the original toy from the 80s cartoon, just significantly smaller and without any of the stickers, but what makes this figure better is the articulation. That is the best thing about this figure. He poses extraordinarily, and it's basically a what if that original figure was made today. Figure also has a lot of accessories, coming with 2 guns, his Energon axe, and a clear blue matrix of leadership. That figure's transformation seems pretty good, and the truck mode also looks really awesome. So yeah, this is definitely a very awesome little figure, and the perfect way to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the brand. But of course, the Legacy had one extra wave of Deluxes, which we will now take a look at. Wave 5 will be very quick to talk about, as it's mostly repacks and repaints from older lines. Like for example, we got G2 Universe Breakdown, who is just a repaint of the Breakdown from Legacy, except in very bad colors in my opinion, along with Legacy Cosmos, who was repacked from the Walmart exclusive line because people had trouble finding him. Likewise, another repack in the line is the Origin Bumblebee, originally released as part of the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line. This depicts Bumblebee in the pilot episode of G1, where he's got the Earth Robot mode, but a Cybertronian old mode. And to achieve that, the figure sadly has a ton of kibble on him, which is a little annoying, but the figure makes up with it for excellent posing that he has. He also comes with really above average accessories, including a little blaster, a jetpack, and 5 fuel rods that the figure can hold with some posing. As for the figure's transformation, it's pretty fun, and the saucer mode looks pretty good. So yeah, if you can get past the kibble, I honestly recommend this. It's one of the best Chug-style Bumblebees in the G1 aesthetic that you can get. The final Deluxe is our first Armada figure in this line, and it is Armada Wheeljack. Now, this figure was a repaint of a Comic-Con exclusive Shattered Glass Sideswipe, but the reason for that is because the figure itself is a repaint and slight remold of the Siege Sideswipe figure, which was an awesome figure that got repainted a ton, and this is another one to add to the pile. As for how it looks compared to the show model, it is very awesome and looks very good. As for the figure's articulation, the head can rotate, the arms are universal, bicep swivel, elbow joint, wrist can hinge inward, waist swivel, hips thighs, knees, and an ankle pivot. Posability is very awesome on this figure. He includes his 2 baton weapons and a shoulder cannon, which he never used in Armada, but Sideswipe came with it, so they might as well throw it in. Transformation's also really fun because that mold is really good. So if you're a fan of the mold, this is another version of it. For me, though, this is my definitive version of the mold because I really like Armada Wheeljack as a character. And that is it for our Deluxe Class Transformers figures from Legacy United. Overall, I thought this was the best Deluxe lineup we've had so far, with a lot of variety in it. Fortunately, there is still a lot of repaints and retools, but that's just kind of expected from the brand. And Transbro knows that Transformers fans are consumers and will buy pretty much anything with the name on it if it interests them.
Well, all I need's a spider and I got the whole set! Gotta catch 'em all!
Moving on to the Voyager classes, we got 5 waves again, but only 9 figures this time. We're going to start with Wave 1's animated Optimus Prime and see how well they adapted the Optimus Prime design.
You promised you wouldn't laugh! Sorry.
I don't know what it is. I think it's just the generally bulkier proportions, but they look like they took the animated Optimus Prime design and then tried to chatify it, which makes me giggle. But still, as updates go, this is very close, just, very blockier and such, a little more muscular than normal. As for the figure itself, he comes with the Energon axe, which is awesome, and has an extendable handle, which is great, because this figure has some very awesome posing, especially in the ankles. I'll show more off later in the video, but as for the figure itself, his transforms is also very fun, and the vehicle, it also looks really good. So yeah, Animated Optimus is definitely a good Voyager. As for his wave mate, we got Prime Universe Thundertron. Now, if you don't recognize this guy, that's because he's never actually in the Prime cartoon. He was planned to be the main villain of the 3rd season before they swapped to the Beast Hunters concept. His character is basically a pirate, from what I understand. And looking at the figure itself, it does look pretty cool. He comes with a nice sword, which is awesome, and to make the pirate theme more apparent, you can remove one of his foot to have like a peg leg, which is a neat gimmick. And his transformation into this Beast looks pretty simple enough, and yeah, the Beast mode looks pretty posable, which is nice for a Beast former. So yeah, pretty decent Voyager. Wave 2 of the Voyagers begins with our first Beast Wars figure in this line, and that is Silverbolt. He is also the first Fusor that they've done in the Kingdom/Legacy line. And yeah, the figure looks very accurate to the source material. And he also is scaled properly, so he's taller than Black Arachnia, which is accurate. The figure comes with 2 feathered tips that are meant to replicate the weapons he used on the show, and the transformation into the fused eagle and dog looks pretty good, and that mode also looks really good. This is a figure a lot of Beast Wars fans I think would enjoy. Silverbolt's wave mate was Cybertron Universe Starscream, and oh boy do I love this figure a lot. First off, the robot mode is spot on, accurate to how he looked in the Cybertron cartoon, which is awesome because I really love that design. The figure comes with a lot of accessories too, including 2 null ray blasters, a cyber planet key, and a gun. Now, the null ray blasters can plug onto his arms, and you can flip out the blades, because in the show, when you inserted the cyber key, the blades would flip out. Here you can do it manually. But here's where the figure really shines, the posing. Head swivels, the arms rotate, go in and out. Elbow jointed elbows, wrist swivel, a waist swivel, unimpeded legs, thighs, really good knees, and really awesome ankle movement. This figure can get into some awesome poses. Transformation's pretty simple, but pretty fun, and the jet mode looks very cool. So this is definitely a Voyager to pick up. I highly recommend Cybertron Starscream. Wave 3 only has 1 figure, but it continues the Cybertron train as we got Vector Prime. Now this figure, despite being a remold of the Legacy G-Axis, looks pretty accurate to the source, which is good. And that mold was already really good, so the articulation on this guy is insane, and you can get some very good sword poses with him. Or at least you would be able to. You see, early copies had some terrible QC, but over time the batches got fixed, so if you can get a newer batch, this figure is definitely worth a pickup. Wave 4 begins with Metalhawk. He is almost identical to the one included in Legacy Evolution, but has a slight paint difference. I'd still say Cyclonus is better if you want this mold, so just wait for the 86 Cyclonus. The other figure included in this wave is Animated Universe Motormaster. Character who appears in some animated tie-in comics. As for the figure itself, it's identical to the Animated Universe Optimus, just with a new head, but because I own this, I can finally show you the articulation joints so you can see that the figure indeed has very good posing options. So yeah, either version of the mold is great to get. I just went with this because I have the original animated Optimus and didn't feel the need to replace him. And the final wave of Voyagers are just repacks of hard-to-find Voyagers. We got Tarn from Legacy Evolution, and we also got Ramjet from Earthrise. It's nice that they were released for those who missed out on them originally. Overall, the Voyagers have a pretty good selection, which I like. Wave 5 is just reissues, but that's fine because that wave is kind of just filler to hold over until the next line. The only figure I think is a little bit of a wasted slot is the Metal Hawk, and that's just because he was released in the prior wave, and they just updated his paint job slightly. In fact, I think that's something that should be saved more for exclusives, and there was an exclusive in this line that we'll get to later that I think should have taken up the mainline spot. With all that said, let's take a look at the Leader Class figures. Alright, for Leader Class we got 7 figures total, so let's take a look, starting with the G2 Laser Optimus, which is just a repack of the figure from the first Legacy line. And since I already talked about him, we will be skipping him and moving right along to the next figure. The other Wave 1 figure is Beast Wars Universe Tigerhawk, an awesome looking figure that looks very accurate to the show counterpart as per usual with the Beast Wars figures. And he does come with above average accessories, including these 2 feather pieces that you can have him hold, along with some wrist mounted weapons. Now, the figure's articulation is also very good, featuring very good head, shoulders, decent elbows, no wrists, waist swivel, hips that are a little limited, thigh swivel, a little bit of a limited knee, and the ankle hinge is limited, but the pivot's pretty good, so you get some decent posability. And the transformation is very fun and satisfying to do. But this figure has a major flaw, and it's with the hip ratchets. These things are extremely fragile and can explode. In fact, mine have, and yeah, now my figure has problems.
Die-cast construction. It's a lost art.
Really sucks that this figure has such a devastating flaw, because without that this figure would be really great. Wave 2 only has 1 figure, and it's G1 Sandstorm. Now, as the box says, this is a triple changer, so we'll start with the robot mode. He looks pretty good and comes with 2 guns, but my favorite thing it comes with is this cage, as that's a very unique accessory for a figure, and it looks to pose pretty well. Transforms into this vehicle thing, and that looks okay. My favorite mode is the helicopter mode, as that looks like a really nice helicopter, and the cage can be used in the helicopter mode, and that's really cool. So yeah, Sandstorm is a decent Leader Class figure. Leader Class Wave 3 begins with Armada Galvatron, which is just a repaint of the Armada Megatron from the last line. But I prefer this color scheme, and I knew about it coming out thanks to leaked listings, so that's why I didn't buy it the first time, and instead waited for this version to come out.
There's no reason to doubt me now. I am Galvatron!
Beyond that, the figure is almost identical, though they did give him a new head with a new expression, and they also made the antler pieces non-removable. But because I own this, I can finally show off the articulation, and you can see that while the shoulders don't move at the treads, they move below it, and it still works pretty well, and overall the figure has a good posability. I still really like this figure a lot, and I think you can get either color scheme that you prefer. For me personally, I stick with Galvatron. Galvatron's wavemate is Soundwave from G1. Now, you may recall in the first Legacy video, they also had a G1 Soundwave, but that version turned into a Cybertronian alt mode. This version actually transforms into the proper cassette deck form. And this figure is a repack of a figure from the Earthrise toy line, but they threw in an extra cassette tape just to make it a Leader Class figure. And this figure perfectly demonstrates why I don't buy G1 figures so often. You see, I bought that Legacy Soundwave because I wanted a good G1 Soundwave, but then 2 years later we get this version, which is better, and then a year and a half after that we got the 86 Soundwave, which is even better than that. Which leaves me with the Legacy version, which is still a good figure, but the other two are just better in every way, and they even come with cassette tapes. Mine came with nothing.
My tapes, you've erased my tapes.
Wave 4 is another one of those final wave filler waves. So we got 2 figures. Up first is Legacy United Galaxy Shuttle, who is a repack of the Legacy Velocitron Galaxy Shuttle, which was itself a repaint of the Siege Astro Train. And we also have Overcharge, who is a repaint of the Legacy Blitzwing. Neither of these are that great in my opinion, and would rather just get the original molds over these repaints of them. The Leader Class is a little disappointing this year. Only 2 new molds and the rest are either repacks or repaints, but thankfully the last 2 size classes more than make up for the sort of lacking Leader Class figures here. Our Commander class figure is Megatron. Now, this figure is interesting. You see, you get 3 dinosaurs, which you can combine to form one giant robot. Or alternatively, you can also combine them to form one crazy looking beast that looks really funny to me. But the robot mode on Megatron looks awesome, and it seems to have very good posability. So yeah, I'd say Megatron is definitely worth picking up if you're at all on the fence about him. And to end the main line, we have Armada Universe Tidal Wave at our Titan class figure. And yeah, this guy is big, 19 inches tall. I do own this figure, but I refuse to film this for an articulation segment because he is just way too big. But I can say the figure has very awesome articulation. As for the figure's transformation, he has multiple modes. He breaks into 3 components to form the Dark Fleet, which can all combine to form one giant starship, which does look really awesome. Can also have him form a base mode, which is not so awesome. But the best feature this guy has is that he comes with mini versions of the Dark Fleet, and those can combine with the Armada Megatron/Galvatron mold to form Burning Megatron like in the Armada anime. And this is really cool to me, and I'm really happy that I picked up this Titan figure. With the main line all covered, we can now move on to the exclusives. Starting with the Walmart exclusives, we have the Star Raiders collection of figures. These are all, like usual, extensive repaints or retools of older figures. Now, the most interesting one to me is Lockdown, though. This is another Transformers animated character, and you can see that he looks nothing like Lockdown in proportion. The paint is close enough. Ironically, this figure looks a lot closer to the 2009 Revenge of the Fallen movie Lockdown figure than the animated design. But this is one of the retools that I mentioned, and this one is of the Junkion figure Scraphook. Looking at the figure's articulation, I can finally show it off. It's pretty decent, and the weaponizing gimmick still works on this figure, but still, as Lockdown, it's not the best.
Predictable as ever.
I also want to highlight Filch. Now, this character is a very minor antagonist in the Robots in Disguise 2015 show, and this figure is just a retool and repaint of the Kingdom Air Razor figure. But it is our only new character for RID 2015, so I wanted to mention it. For Amazon, we got the Doom and Destruction multi-pack sets. Now, these figures are all repaints of old molds, but I want to quickly mention the Windsweeper and Prime Universe Breakdown 2-pack. Now, Windsweeper is just a repaint of Needle Nose from Legacy Evolution, so nothing new to mention there. However, Breakdown here is a repaint of Prime Universe Bulkhead from Legacy, and I really like this mold. And this works a lot better on this character than it did for Bulkhead. And so, yeah, this is the figure I was talking about that I wanted should have been swapped for Metal Hawk, as I think this would have been a much cooler inclusion into the main line than a repaint of a character that we had in the previous line. As for Target, we got the Legacy United Origin Wheeljack figure. Originally planned to be a part of the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line before that got cancelled. We got this figure in normal packaging. And it's another Origin figure, so he's very kibble heavy just due to how the designs are basically just their Earth modes, but they turn into Cybertronian modes. But it's still kind of cool. Comes with these blue panel pieces that you can put on his back. The real function's in the vehicle mode, as they can form a nice little road for him, and he also can hold the Bumblebee's fuel rods, which is awesome. In fact, he can also hold Origin Bumblebee in his back, which is a nice reference to the episode. The other Target exclusive was the 4-pack. We got Prime Universe Cliffjumper, Beast Wars Tarantulas, which is referencing his toy prototype color scheme, G1 Squeeze Play, and Cyberverse Universe Tarn. I'm going to be focusing on Prime Universe Cliffjumper. This figure uses the Rescue Bots chase mold, but it actually works really well for Prime Cliffjumper. This actually looks very accurate, surprisingly. Beyond that, the figure has the bull horns on the car, which is awesome. So yeah, this is actually really cool, and best of all, he's getting a repack in the Age of the Primes line, so you don't have to buy this multi-pack if you want the Cliffjumper figure.
Bulkhead, I needed that!
And with all that said, we have officially ended our look at Legacy United. So, was the third time the charm? Did we actually get a really good Legacy line this time?
Yes!
This is what I've been waiting for. Every single figure here is from us, part of the brand. So every single part of the brand is represented here. And even the redesigns that they did previously were not as bad this time, provided the figure got a new mold, of course. but still, the fact that we have a line that has G1, Beast Wars Seconds, Beast Wars Neo, Beast Machines, Robots in Disguise 2001, Armada, Energon, Cybertron, Animated, Prime, Robots in Disguise 2015, and Cyberverse all under the same line. It's really awesome. And it's something I feel the Legacy line should have done a long time ago. Though it does bring up a concern of mine that I have. How long is it going to take to finish off some of these casts? You see, Beast Wars got its Season 1 cast done in about a year and a half, because we got most of it from Kingdom, and then the rest of it in the first year of Legacy. But none of these other shows have gotten anywhere near as many figures as the Beast Wars characters got during Kingdom. The closest show to being finished is Armada, but it still hasn't even finished its Season 1 cast off, as we're missing Cyclonus, Demolisher, and Smokescreen. Now, thankfully the Legacy concept wasn't abandoned. The current Age of the Primes line has a bunch of figures from other continuities, which is good to see, and I hope they continue to do so one day we can complete casts. But still, I feel that the Legacy line should have all been like United. If we got it that way, we would be a lot closer to completing casts than we are now. And Hasbro did say 50% G1, 50% everything else, but it doesn't feel like it was balanced that way for the first two lines. But this line specifically, it feels a lot more balanced. But you know how it is, each company's got their own thing, and we all know what Hasbro is.
He's a coward, he's an egomaniac, he's a suck-up, he's a liar! I am not!
But overall, the Legacy trilogy is still a very good trilogy toy line. I'd still say most of the figures in the line are very good. The issue just lies with the broken promises I feel Hasbro gave me. Now, if you guys think differently, let me know in the comments below, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching the Legacy trilogy retrospective over these last months, and I hope to see you all in the next video. If you liked this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more Transformers videos, hit subscribe. I got a few more toy lines planned for this channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.